Welcome to the Daily News Currents. Today is Monday, January 20th, and for today's headlines we have Trump begins selling new crypto token, raising ethical concerns. New York rescuers break the ice to save moose from a frozen lake. Ceasefire goes into effect in Gaza, Israel says after initial delay. TikTok is offline in the U.S. after Supreme Court upholds ban. And Biden pardons Virginia House Speaker Don Scott, black nationalist Marcus Garvey. Trump begins selling new crypto token, raising ethical concerns. The president-elect and his family have a direct and potentially lucrative stake in the sale of a cryptocurrency product that surged in value in the hours after going on sale, days before his inauguration. President-elect Donald J. Trump and his family on Friday started selling a cryptocurrency token featuring an image of Mr. Trump drawn from the July assassination attempt, a potentially lucrative new business that ethics experts assailed as a blatant effort to cash in on the office he's about to occupy again. Disclosed just days before a second inauguration, the venture is the latest in a series of moves by Mr. Trump that blur the line between his government role and the continued effort by his family to profit from his power and global fame. It is yet another sign that Trump's family will be much less hesitant in the second term to bend or breach traditional ethical boundaries. Mr. Trump himself announced the launch of his new business on Friday night on a social media platform. In between announcements about filing key federal government posts, he is calling the token Dollar Trump, selling it with the slogan, "Join the Trump community. This is history in the making." The venture was organized by CIC Digital LLC, an affiliate of the Trump Organization, which already has been selling an array of other kinds of merchandise, like Trump-branded sneakers, fragrances, and even digital trading cards. But this newest venture brings Mr. Trump and his family directly into the world of selling cryptocurrency, which is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Mr. Trump recently disclosed he intended to name a cryptocurrency advocate as SEC chairman. The disclosure on the website selling the token says the CIC Digital and its affiliates own 80% of the supply of the new Trump tokens that will be released gradually over the coming 3 years, and that they will be paid trading net revenue as the tokens are sold. The move by Mr. Trump and his family was immediately condemned by ethic lawyers who said they could not recall a more explicit profiteering effort by an incoming president. It is literally cashing in on the presidency, creating a financial instrument so people can transfer money to the president's family in connection with his office, said Advai Nodi, executive director of Campaign Legal Center, a nonprofit's ethics group. It is beyond unprecedented. Eric Trump, who helps run Trump's organization business operations, said on Saturday that this offering was part of a new and growing business sector that Trump's family has entered. "I am extremely proud of what we continue to accomplish in crypto," Eric Trump said in a statement to the New York Times. "Dollar Trump is currently the hottest digital meme on earth," he added. "This is just the beginning." But even some in the cryptocurrency industry were quick to criticize the new token. Trump owning 80% in time launching hours before inauguration is predatory, and many will likely get hurt by it, wrote Nick Timano, a crypto venture capitalist and former executive at Coinbase, one of the largest crypto trading platforms, in a social media posting on Saturday. The president-elect and his 3 sons had, as of late last year, already lent their name to another cryptocurrency startup called World Liberty Financial, an arrangement that included a cut of token sales for the Trump family in exchange for helping promote the new brand. But the members of the Trump family with World Liberty Financial were not actually owners of the platform or officers in the company. There are other cryptocurrency coins in the marketplace based on Mr. Trump that are not directly affiliated with his family, like the new Trump meme. Typically, these so-called meme coins, which were born when coins were created as a joke inspired by an internet meme or cartoonish animal faces, are largely worthless and treated more like a hobby. With this new venture, companies associated with Mr. Trump's family have a direct financial stake in the value of the new tokens and the volume of their sales, which quickly surged after going on the market. GetTrumpMemes.com is not political and has nothing to do with any political campaign or any political office or governmental agency, the venture website says, adding, "Trump memes are intended to function as an expression of support for and engagement with the ideals and beliefs embodied by the symbol as Dollar Trump." The legal disclosures say the tokens are not intended to be seen as an investment opportunity, investment contract, or security of any type, but trading of them on cryptocurrency markets began immediately, driving up the value of each token from $7 to nearly $30 as of noon on Saturday. This suggests that the so-called fully diluted value of all of the tokens as of Saturday at noon was $30 billion, a number achieved less than a day after the token went on market, according to CoinMarketCap, a site that tracks cryptocurrency trading. A log of transactions related to the new token shows that 80% of the dollar Trump tokens remain controlled by the Trump-related entities, implying that the Trump assets still have not been sold. It also shows that one unidentified crypto wallet has accumulated more than 2% of the meme coin. Many attempts to buy or transfer the new token were failing as of early evening Saturday, perhaps because of an insufficient supply of available token given to the sudden demand. Mr. Trump and his family are clear in the marketing of the new token that the image picked for the coin had been inspired by the July assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. President Trump faced death and came up fighting, the website promoting the token says. Cryptocurrency markets tend to be highly volatile, in part because tokens are not backed by any tangible assets. The website for Mr. Trump's new venture includes an extensive collection of disclaimers, limiting the ability of anyone buying the token to file a class action lawsuit related to it, and warning buyers that Trump memes may be extremely volatile and price fluctuations in cryptocurrencies could impact the price. Mr. Trump has already made clear that he will be working to promote the cryptocurrency industry. He has announced his intention to appoint regulators who will lift restrictions on the sale of new tokens and ties between cryptocurrency companies and other more traditional financial enterprises. This stands in contrast in efforts by Biden-era regulators to tightly regulate the industry out of concern that a sudden crash in the value of cryptocurrency could potentially lead to a future financial crash. New York rescuers break the ice to save moose from a frozen lake. The bull moose had fallen into a lake in the Adirondacks and had been in the frigid waters for about 2 hours before the rescuers arrived and used a chainsaw to free it. So what do you do if you find a 1,000-pound moose stuck in a partly frozen lake in the center of a 6 million acre wilderness? When rescuers arrived at Lake Abenaki in northern New York, only the head of the moose was above the water. It had fallen through about 40 minutes earlier and was spotted by an unidentified bystander in the vast forest of the Adirondacks. The moose, a male that had shed its antlers, had walked about 200 feet into the lake in Indian Lake, about 100 miles northeast of Albany, before falling into the frigid waters late on Thursday morning, according to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The rescuers saw that the moose was unable to get out of the water. An airboat, a flat-bottomed watercraft with propeller, was on its way to help. I guess there's no training manual for getting a moose out of the ice, Lieutenant Robert Higgins, a state environmental conservation officer, said with a chuckle later in an interview posted on the agency's website. He narrated the rescue like it was all in a day's work, as if anyone would quickly dress in cold water gear and venture into a frozen lake with sleds and heavy chainsaws, as the team had done. We knew that time wasn't on our side, Evan Nahor, a forest ranger, said in the interview. It was, do what we can with what we have. The airboat had not yet arrived, so the rescuers walked onto the ice using a spud bar, which is a long metal tool with a chisel on one end, to find the most solid path to the moose. Every minute counts, Lieutenant Higgins said in an interview. They were worried, they said, about needing to be saved themselves if they fell through. Their dry suits would keep them warm and afloat, and their safety ropes would be used to pull each other out. Kneeling on sleds to spread out their weight across the ice, they began using a chainsaw to remove sections of ice and pushing them away to open a channel to shore. The video shows the crew attacking the ice surrounding the moose as it calmly treaded water, maybe a little too calmly. We tried poking it with a couple different things, but it didn't seem afraid of them, said another forest ranger, Matt Severi. So finally, we pushed the jet sleds we had up close to it, and for whatever reason, it was scared of those. So once we got behind it, we were able to direct it. The bull moose, which can weigh around 1,000 pounds, paddled briskly through the narrow channel and made it to shore. But then it had been in the water for about 2 hours. It was really tired, Lieutenant Higgins said. It was shivering, didn't have much energy left. We didn't know if it was going to be able to stand up or not. It took about 15 minutes for the moose to find its footing and strength. It tried a few times and eventually it stood up, Lieutenant Higgins said. Then it shook off the ice and took an easy stride on a different path into the forest. Ceasefire goes into effect in Gaza, Israel says, after initial delay. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a ceasefire between Israel's military and Hamas has begun. The Israel government announced a ceasefire with Hamas took effect at 11:15 local time, 4:15 U.S. Eastern time, around 3 hours after the originally scheduled time for hostiles to cease. The ceasefire was supposed to have gone into effect at 8:30 a.m. Sunday, but before then, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insisted that Israel did not consider the terms of agreement valid and enforceable until Hamas has handed over a list of names of hostages to be released today. Under the agreement, Hamas was supposed to hand them over on Saturday. They did eventually, as of 2:30 p.m. local time. The ceasefire appeared to be holding. The statement issued on Telegram after the initial headline by the Al-Qasim Brigades, the military wing of Hamas, identified 3 Israeli women the group would release on Saturday, part of the group of nearly 100 hostages still believed to be held by Hamas. The Israel group confirmed it had received a list of hostages and that family members were being notified. Hostages and Missing Family Forum, a group representing families of people held hostage, released the names of 3 Israeli women expected to gain their freedom back today. The 3 hostages to be released Sunday are Romi Gonen, 24, who was kidnapped at the Nova Music Festival that Hamas militants stormed on October 7, 2023, Emily Damari, a British-Israeli citizen who was abducted the same day by militants attacking Kfar Aza, a small Israeli community known as kibbutz close to Gaza, and Doran Steinbrecher, 31, who had also taken from the Kfar Aza. According to a statement from the Hostages and Missing Families Forum, Gonen loves dancing, traveling, and enjoying life. Friends and family describe her as energetic, fun, family-oriented, and full of life. Friends of Damari describe her as well-loved and popular, a friend to everyone. Emily enjoys barbecuing, karaoke nights, and loves hats, according to the same statement. She was abducted along with her friends Gali and Ziv Berman, who remain in captivity. Steinbrecher is a veterinary nurse, according to the group's statement, and has cared for animals since childhood, when she helped at the school's petting zoo. She loves sports, especially running, and goes for early morning runs around the kibbutz every Saturday. The group said her family considered her a devout aunt to her nephews. Through the morning, surveillance drones flew over Gaza, and the Israeli military reported strikes in the territory. NPR confirms that a jeep belonging to the Al-Qasim Brigades was struck. The spokesperson for Gaza Hamas-controlled civil defense, Maoud Bazal, said Israeli attacks had killed a total of 19 people across various parts of the Gaza Strip on Sunday morning. The Israeli military also said it carried out a special operation alongside the country's domestic intelligence service that helped recover the body of an infantry soldier called Oron Shaul. He had been killed during clashes with Hamas in 2014. The group is still holding 97 abductees inside Gaza. Most of these were seized on October 7, 2023, but others were taken hostage in a preceding decade, and a substantial number are no longer alive. In Jerusalem, the far-right Otazma Yehut party released a statement saying its leader, former National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, were making good on his threat to leave Netanyahu's governing coalition, and he would take his party's ministers with him. The statement called the ceasefire deal a victory for terrorism. TikTok is offline in the U.S. after Supreme Court upholds ban. TikTok is no longer accessible to users in the US, and the result of its controversial law forcing the popular platform offline unless it splits away from its China-based owner, ByteDance. When users tried to open the app around 10:35 p.m. Eastern, a message appeared. "Sorry, TikTok isn't available right now," it read. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the US. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. The message then said President-elect Donald Trump has promised to work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. Around the same time, TikTok also stopped appearing on the Apple and Google Play app stores, preventing the app to be downloaded and cutting the app off from critical software updates. It represents the first time in history the US government has outlawed a widely popular social media network. The TikTok ban could be short-lived, however. Early Sunday, Trump says he plans to issue an executive order on Monday to pause the ban to give TikTok time to distance itself from ByteDance. I'm asking companies to not let TikTok stay dark, Trump wrote on his social media platform Truth Social. Americans deserve to see our exciting inauguration on Monday, as well as other events and conversations. The day before, Trump had suggested he would most likely give a 90-day reprieve. Yet it is unclear if it's too late for Trump to legally extend the ban's start date. Such an extension is allowed under the law, although it does require a binding certification to Congress that steps towards divesting from ByteDance are in motion. Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas said in a statement on Sunday that Trump does not have the power to pause the TikTok ban. Now that the law has taken effect, there is no legal basis for any kind of extension, Cotton said, noting that TikTok can only be restored when it has satisfied Congress's requirement that it be divorced from Beijing. The law, recently upheld by the Supreme Court, directed Apple and Google to remove the service from app stores. It also required web hosting firms, including TikTok's back-end cloud provider Oracle, to stop supporting the app or face penalties that could reach into the billions of dollars. Trump said in his post that he would provide a liability shield to any company that works with TikTok, but legal culpability was determined by Congress, and experts say Trump may need to call on lawmakers to amend the law in order for companies to be willing to support TikTok before he can split off from ByteDance. Trump also wrote that he would like a U.S. company or investors to have a 50% stake in TikTok, but he did not elaborate. TikTok's uncertain path forward. It remains to be seen how long the service will remain offline, but the development has drawn criticism from free speech advocates, who said it amounts to the kind of government censorship America often condemns on the global stage. Free speech group PEN America attacked the Supreme Court's decision, restricting access to foreign media as a hallmark of oppressive governments, and we should always be wary when national security is involved to silence speech, the advocacy group said in a statement on Friday. Other apps owned by ByteDance, including video editing app CatCup and Lemon 8, were also blocked for U.S. users on Saturday. The prospect of TikTok's shutdown in the U.S. has been discussed for more than 4 years, but it often has been stymied by courts or dissolved amid political bickering. In April 2024, however, Congress passed a ban with an overwhelming bipartisan support. Lawmakers fear TikTok's owner ByteDance could be manipulated by the Chinese government, exposing Americans' data and content feeds to the whims of an adversarial regime. Earlier this month, TikTok argued before the Supreme Court that the law represents an unprecedented suppression of free speech. Yet the Supreme Court ruled in an unsigned unanimous decision that divestiture is necessary to resolve lawmakers' fears about China. Therefore, the court ruled, Congress acted lawfully when it voted to crack down on the hugely popular video app. TikTok now faces an uncertain path forward. Despite promising to put the app out of business during his first term, Trump has vowed to keep TikTok alive in the U.S., but how he might execute that remains murky. One possibility would be to revive a national security agreement known as Project Texas, which TikTok says it has spent more than $2 billion on implementing. The plan aims to wall off any potential influence by Beijing by placing Austin-based Oracle as a supervisor of sorts over the data exchange between ByteDance and TikTok. It also allows for third-party audits of TikTok's content recommendation algorithm. It is determined that TikTok has run afoul of the deal. The agreement includes a kill switch in which federal officials could have TikTok turned off. TikTok proposed the plan to the Biden administration, which, in the 11th hour, walked away from the agreement without ever stating why, according to court papers filed in TikTok's lawsuit against the administration over the divest or ban law. Some longtime TikTok observers say Trump may renew these talks and determine which it represents qualified divestiture, meaning an arrangement through which TikTok is sufficiently distanced from ByteDance. That determination can be solely at the discretion of the president and his administration. It hands the final say over TikTok's future in the U.S. to Trump. Biden pardons Virginia House Speaker Don Scott, Black nationalist Marcus Garvey. On his final full day in office, President Biden pardoned Virginia House Speaker Don Scott, who was convicted of a nonviolent drug offense in 1994, and posthumously pardoned Black nationalist Marcus Garvey, who was convicted of mail fraud in the 1920s, and inspired civil rights leaders like Malcolm X. 3 others have also received pardons, including advocates for immigration rights, gun violence prevention, and criminal justice reform. As president, I've used my clemency power to make that promise a reality by issuing more individual pardons and communications than any other president in U.S. history, President Biden said in a statement. These clemency receipts have each made significant contributions to improving their communities. Scott, the first Virginia House of Delegates Speaker, served 7 years in prison following his federal drug conviction. Since his release, Scott became a lawyer, got elected to the Virginia House of Delegates, and became the first Black Speaker of the Virginia House of Delegates in 2024. On Sunday, Scott thanked Biden for his pardon and his commitment to second chances. I will never forget the pain my family felt when I was sentenced or the sound of my mother's anguish in the courtroom, Scott said in a statement. But I also won't forget the joy of redemption and renewal and the sound of her tears as I was sworn in as Speaker. The posthumous pardon of Marcus Garvey comes after a group of 21 Democratic members in the U.S. Congress signed a letter urging Biden to grant clemency to Garvey. Garvey created the Black Star Line, the first Black-owned shipping and travel line, and founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association. Martin Luther King Jr., who the country celebrates on Monday, described Garvey as the first man of color in the history of the U.S. to lead and develop a mass movement. In addition to Scott and Garvey, Biden pardoned immigration rights activist Ravi Ragbir, prison reform activist Kemba Smith Prada, and gun violence prevention advocate Daryl Chambers. All were convicted for nonviolent offenses. In a statement, Prada praised Biden's action. His decision reflects the growing recognition that many of the harsh sentences imposed during the height of the war on drugs caused immeasurable harm, particularly to women who experienced intimate partner violence in communities of color, Prada said. Biden also commuted the sentences of Robin Peoples and Michelle West. Both will finish their sentences on February 18, 2025. Peoples was sentenced to 111 years in prison for robbing banks in Indiana and had already served more than 2 decades in prison. West was facing a life sentence for being part of a drug conspiracy. West's daughter, Mikhail West, said she was overjoyed and deeply grateful for Biden's clemency. "I was only a little girl and my mom dropped me off for school one morning and never picked me up," Mikhail said in a statement. "Today, after more than 30 years hoping and advocating every day that her life sentence could somehow be reduced, the clouds have parted." It remains unclear if Biden will issue preemptive pardons for those President-elect Donald Trump has threatened to prosecute, including those who worked on the House of Representatives' January 6th committee. That is all for today. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.